14.2 Design and Exercise Programs, Client 1. Firstly, I did a client consultation where I did a lifestyle questionnaire and a PAR-Q. Here I was able to find out if my client has any medical problems and details about her life that will help me get a better understanding of her lifestyle and what she likes to do. Then I did a client profile. This gives me my client's personal information and their preferences when it comes to exercising, so it gives me something to plan the training program around. My client's short-term goals was to improve balance by week 3, and her long-term goals was to improve muscular endurance and cardiovascular endurance by the end of the training program. Week 1. My client said that she would like to improve her cardiovascular endurance, which is why I have put in a treadmill running for 10 minutes and exercise bike for 15 minutes, as it will mean that she is working aerobically, so it will strengthen her heart and improve the efficiency of her lungs so she can transport and remove substances faster. This means that she will be able to get more oxygen to the muscles faster and remove CO2 quicker, as the heart can pump more oxygenated blood around the body in each contraction, so her cardiovascular endurance will improve as her muscles will be able to work for longer. The warm-up for this session will start off with a slow jog to raise the heart rate, so oxygen is being transported to the working muscles at a quicker rate, and to increase muscle temperature. Then Beth will do some dynamic and static stretches whilst the muscles are hot and pliable. The cool down for this session will involve some low intensity revolutions on the exercise bike, as it will mean that the exact same muscles that are being used will be able to cool down effectively. Then she will get off the bike and do some static and proprioceptive neuromuscular facilitation stretches, as this will increase Beth's flexibility even more as the muscles are hot. My client also said that she prefers using gym equipment rather than training outdoors, so this is why I will be using treadmill and exercise bikes. On Tuesday, Beth will be doing the 1-minute press-up test and the 1-minute squat test as a yardstick to see if her muscular endurance has improved in different muscle groups throughout the training program. For the circuit training, I'll focus the exercise on improving her muscular endurance and balance, as these are some of the components of fitness that she wanted to improve. To start with, she will do a plank for 45 seconds to improve endurance in the abs, and then she will do 10 push-ups to improve her triceps and pectorals. Next, Beth will do 15 squat jumps to further develop muscular endurance in her leg muscles and also balance, as it strengthens the legs so it gives her more support. There will then be a 30-second break, and then she will do Russian twists with a 5 kg kettlebell for 30 seconds to improve her muscular endurance in the abs. Finally, she will be doing step-ups for 30 seconds to improve leg muscles, and then battle ropes for 20 seconds, followed by a 1-minute break. And then the circuit is repeated 3 times. All of these exercises either strengthen the legs and the core to improve balance, or involve continuous muscle contractions, which will improve muscular endurance. The warm-up for Wednesday and Friday will start off with a slow jog, followed by some quick drills using ladders and small hurdles. Then they will warm up the arm muscles by using equipment such as medicine balls and sandbags, and it will finish with some dynamic and static stretches. The cool downs for these sessions will involve a slow jog and then some dynamic stretches, followed by using resistance bands to cool down the arm muscles. Then I'll get the client to do some static stretches for the whole body to finish the session off. I've given the client rest days on the day she has football so I don't overwork her and cause a burnout, and I have also given her a rest day on Saturday to recover for her game on Sunday. On Tuesday and Saturday, I recommend going on a 15 to 20 minute walk at some point, which could be with a friend if they want, as it means they aren't just doing nothing on rest days and being productive with the days they have off. Also, I will ask my client to do some stretches on rest days to avoid muscle soreness and to make their muscles more pliable to reduce injury in training. Week 2. My client said that she would like to improve her cardiovascular endurance, so I've chosen to include fartlek training for 20 minutes in a sports hall, as my client prefers exercising indoors. Fartlek training is a very good way to improve endurance, which is what Beth wanted to do, and it also has a good ecological validity to football, which she plays, as it involves changing speed a lot, which is very, very relevant to football games, as you do not move at a constant speed for the entire 90 minutes. The warm-up for this session will need to be aerobic and anaerobic, as the client has to work anaerobically during the short sprints in the fartlek training. This is why I'll include a slow jog to start off with, followed by dynamic stretches like lunges and opening gait, which stretch the groin. But I will then use some ladders and cones so Beth can go through the ladder and then sprint from one cone to the other, and then repeat at least 3 times so she can warm up anaerobically. Then I'll do some static stretches to increase flexibility of the muscles even more whilst they are still warm. The cool down for this will involve a slow jog for 2 to 3 minutes, followed by dynamic, static, and passive stretches for 5 to 10 minutes, as Beth will have worked anaerobically as well as aerobically, so it's important to stretch the muscles thoroughly to reduce the risk of delayed onset muscle soreness. For the circuit training, I'll focus the exercise on improving muscular endurance and balance. Start with she doing skipping for 1 minute because it involves a lot of continuous muscle contractions, and then she will do lateral raises for 30 seconds with the 2.5 kg to 5 kg dumbbells to improve strength and muscular endurance in the shoulder muscles. Next, Beth will do 20 squat jumps to further improve muscular endurance in the legs and also strength to improve balance, followed by a 30-second break and then Russian twist with a 5 kg kettlebell for 45 seconds, which is 15 seconds longer than week 1, so it is a higher intensity. Finally, she would be doing step-ups for 30 seconds to improve leg muscles and then battle ropes for 20 seconds followed by a 1-minute break. This is then repeated 3 times. The warm-up and cool-down for the circuit training will be the same as week 1 as it is a good way to warm up and cool down the muscles using the exercises. For the rowing machine on Friday, my client should work at 60 to 70% of their maximum heart rate in order to reach her aerobic training zone, so it will improve her cardiovascular endurance. Also, because they're doing 15 minutes of continuous exercise and using the same muscles, it will improve her muscular endurance, so this activity is a good way to achieve both of Beth's goals. Rest days will remain the same and she should be doing the activities that I suggested. Week 3. For week 3, my client will be doing cardiovascular training on Monday, which I've extended the length of compared to week 1 to make it harder for her, so it will result in a further improvement of Beth's cardiovascular endurance. I will also start to increase the speed of the treadmill and the resistance of the exercise bike, but I'll be careful not to make it too hard for her, as she needs to work aerobically to improve her cardiovascular endurance. The warm-up and cool-down for this session will be fairly simple, as the leg muscles are the main muscles used, which means other muscles don't need to be warmed up properly. This is why I'll only include a slow jog and then dynamic and static stretches in the warm-up and cool-down, as it is simple but effective, as it will prepare and cool down the correct muscles for the activities, so it will reduce the risk of any injuries. On Tuesday, I'll be doing the stalk stand test to see if Beth's balance has improved from her previous results, which was 7.78 seconds, and I'll also be doing a yo-yo test to see if her cardiovascular endurance has improved. Also, on Thursday, I'll get Beth to do the 1-minute sit-up test and the 1-minute press-up test and the 1-minute squat test to measure how much her muscular endurance has improved since week 1. For the circuit training, I will be increasing the intensity of the exercise even more to further improve Beth's muscular endurance and also other components of fitness like balance, strength, and power. To start with, she will do a plank for 1 minute to improve muscular endurance in the abs, and then she will do 15 push-ups to improve strength and muscular endurance in the triceps and pectoral muscles. Next, Beth will do 20 squat jumps whilst holding a 10 kg sandbag to make it harder for her and improves her muscular endurance in her legs and also balance. Then there'll be a 30-second break and then Russian twists with a 5 kg kettlebell for 1 minute, which is 15 seconds longer than week 2. Finally, she'll be doing step-ups for 45 seconds to improve leg muscles, muscular endurance, and then battle ropes for 25 seconds, followed by a 1-minute break. This will then be repeated 3 times as it's too early in the training program to push her even further, as it could have a negative impact on her body and her motivation. The warm-up and cool-down for the circuit training will be the same as week 1, as it is effective, but I will change it in the following week to reduce tedium. For the rowing machine, my client should still work at 60 to 70% of their maximum heart rate to improve her cardiovascular endurance, but I have increased the length of the exercise to 20 minutes instead of 15 to make her work harder, as it will mean her fitness can progress even further. Rest days will stay the same, and I expect Beth to be taking my advice on going on walks or bike rides if she prefers that, and she should also be doing stretches for different muscles, which can be passive, active, static, or dynamic, as long as she's not doing ballistic stretching, as it can cause injuries very easily. Week 4. For week 4, I've chosen fartlek training again for 25 minutes instead of 20 minutes in week 2, in order to progressively overload to help Beth's endurance improve. I'll ensure that I put enough walking stages in it to help her recover from the running and sprinting, as she will be continuously training for 30 minutes, so I need to make sure that she doesn't fatigue too quickly. The warm-up and cool-down for this session will be the same as week 2, so they're able to warm up both aerobic and anaerobically to prepare the working muscles properly. For the circuit training, I am going to make a slight change to the exercises again to avoid tedium for my client, whilst also increasing the intensity so her body has to work harder than normal, which will increase the muscle fibers. She will start off by doing 20 tricep dips, followed by 1 minute of scissor kicks, which I will demonstrate for her so she uses the right technique, as it is a good way to improve muscular endurance in the abdominal muscles. Next, she will do lunges with 5 kg kettlebells in each hand for 1 minute to improve muscular endurance in the leg muscles. Then there will be a 30-second break, followed by battle ropes for 25 seconds. After that, she will do a plank for 1 minute and 15 seconds to progress further from previous weeks, and finally she will do step ups for 1 minute. This will be repeated 3 times again. The warm-up for Wednesday and Friday will involve a slow jog to begin with, followed by some dynamic stretches, and then I will be using a ladder and cones in which you will have to sprint through as fast as you can so that she can prepare the leg muscles for anaerobic respiration. Then I'll be using resistance band to do a few exercises to warm up the biceps, triceps, and also the pectoral muscles, as they will be used in the circuit training for tricep dips and the battle ropes. And I will finish the warm up off with some static and passive stretches by using objects like a wall to help a stretch. The cool down for these sessions will be similar to the previous weeks, as my client will start off with a slow jog followed by dynamic stretches, and then I'll use a sandbag to do exercises like alternate shoulder press and the sandbag toss to cool down the arm and chest muscles. On Friday at 12:10, my client will be doing 20 minutes on an exercise bike before the circuit training. She will be working at 60 to 70% of her maximum heart rate, so she isn't working anaerobically, as it will help to improve her cardiovascular endurance, and I will also increase the resistance of the bike at 5, 10, and 15 minutes to make it slightly harder for her. However, I'll make sure she doesn't work anaerobically by using a heart rate monitor on her wrist, as I want to make sure that lactic acid doesn't start to build up, as it will make the circuit training a lot harder for her and it could cause very bad muscle soreness. Rest days will remain the same for this week, and the client should be doing the activities that I recommended. For week 5 on Monday, my client will be doing 20 minutes on the treadmill, then a 5 to 10 minute break depending on how my client is feeling, and then 25 minutes on an exercise bike. Beth will be working in an aerobic training zone, which is around 60 to 80% of her maximum heart rate, which I will work out before doing the session so she can improve on her cardiovascular endurance, and I will use a heart rate monitor to see if she is working aerobically. I've also made the duration of the session longer by 10 minutes compared to week 3, which should make it harder and cause further improvements in the size and strength of the cardiac muscle, which will mean it will have a larger benefit on our cardiovascular endurance, so as blood can be pumped more efficiently to the working muscles. Warm up for this session will be fairly straightforward again, as she only needs to warm up her leg muscles, so she'll be doing a slow jog, but as she plays football, I thought I would get her to jog with a ball at her feet to reduce tedium. I could also put some cones on the floor and she can go in and out of them to help her with her football performance, and she would then do some dynamic and static stretches to increase pliability of the muscles to reduce the risk of injury in the session. The cool down will remain the same as the previous weeks, as the jog uses the same muscles that have been working, so it is one of the most effective ways to cool down the muscles. For the circuit training on Wednesday and Friday, I'm going to increase the intensity again by making the exercise longer, more repetitions, and by using a heavier load. She will start by doing 20 push-ups, which is an increase of 5 from week 3, followed by 25 squat jumps with a 10 kg sandbag, which is also 5 more repetitions than week 3. Next, she will do a plank for 1 minute with a 10 kg weight on her back, as it will mean that her abdominal muscles will have to contract with more force to keep her back straight, so it will cause muscle hypertrophy. There will then be a 30-second break, followed by step-ups for 1 minute whilst holding 5 kg dumbbells in each hand, as it should make it harder so she can improve muscular endurance in her leg muscles. Then she will be doing boxing, which involves repetitive punches on pads or a boxing bag for 30 seconds as fast as she can, as it is a good way to improve muscular endurance in the upper body. Finally, she will be doing Russian twists with a 7.5 kg kettlebell for 1 minute, which is an increase of 2.5 kg from week 3, so it will make it slightly harder for her. There will then be a 45-second break, which is 15 seconds less than the previous week, so it gives her less recovery time, and the circuit will be repeated 3 times. The warm-up for Wednesday and Friday will stay the same as week 4.